Just 13, she blew everyone away with her powerful voice. Simon took her under his wing, and with his label backing her, Courtney seemed destined for stardom. But things didn't go as expected. The fame, the lights, the support, they all faded. What happened? Where did it go wrong? Today, we're diving into the rise, fall, and unexpected journey of Courtney Hadwin. Where is she now? Let's find out. Childhood. Just a kid. Simon Cowell always says he never cries. He's the tough guy who's built stars, crushed dreams, and done it all without batting an eyelid. But the first time he heard Courtney Hadwin sing, he almost shed a tear. While Courtney's journey on the outside seems straightforward, the reality couldn't be further from the truth. And it all began with America's Got Talent. But before we jump right into her AGT experience, let's go over Courtney's path to the show. Courtney was born on July 6, 2004, and grew up in Heselden, a small former mining village near Hartlepool in County Durham, in northeast England. She was raised by her parents, Paul and Anne-Marie, alongside her younger siblings Paul and Melissa. Like with many talented young singers, music was woven into Courtney's life early. She began singing at home when she was just a child. And as she grew, she started to dabble in musical theater and then explored her voice through covers. But it wasn't until she watched Connie Talbot on Britain's Got Talent that her dream to sing seriously began. According to Courtney, she began singing properly at around age 9 or 10, and by 11, while attending Heselden Primary School and shortly after enrolling at the Academy at Shotton Hall, she performed during a lunchtime open mic singing Say Something by A Great Big World and Christina Aguilera. That video was uploaded to Facebook and quickly went viral locally. Classmates were surprised by her vocal prowess, and many immediately urged that she explore her soulful power. And she made sure to do what she was told. After all, she loved singing and writing songs. Courtney's granddad would later share that she began busking in local spaces to help pay for singing lessons and cover family travel costs. Although she didn't make much, she was able to take lessons at multiple local academies, including Shotton Hall Theatre School, Peanuts Master Classes, Kate Sir's School of Music, and Vocal Ovation by Julie Miles. But it wasn't until 2015, when she appeared on Teen Star UK in Newcastle, that she battled in her first notable competition. Here, she reached the grand final with her rendition of Bob Dylan's Make You Feel My Love, gaining early recognition for her distinctive sound. The following year, at age 12, Courtney won Hartlepool's Performer of the Year award and became a finalist in the Beyond the Lights award ceremony. In 2016, she also auditioned for Open Mic UK, delivering a version of Nothing Compares to You as part of her rising presence on local stages. That same summer, she opened for Sister Sledge at the South Tyneside Festival in front of over 18,000 people, a milestone that showed what many began to realize. She was no ordinary local performer. She was a star in the making. Fast forward to the next year, and Courtney was once again appearing on another show. This time around, it was The Voice Kids UK. Her audition, a fiery rendition of Tina Turner's Nutbush City Limits, earned her a spot on Danny Jones's team. She advanced to the battle round with Dancing in the Street, then reached the semi-final singing James Brown's I Got You, I Feel Good, and concluded the final with And I Am Telling You I'm Not Going, finishing as a finalist. Across these early years, Courtney developed a reputation for her relentless work ethic. She practiced vocal exercises daily, starting lessons as early as age 11 and maintaining them through her teens. These foundational years, rooted in her small village origins and bolstered by open mic nights, competitions, and live performances across northern England, shaped not only her performance style but also her resolve to succeed. And it especially helped that she had a strong support system willing to ensure she took hold of her dreams. From the very beginning, Courtney's musical journey was shaped and sustained by the unwavering support of her family. Her mother recognized her raw potential, saying the performance surpassed expectations, while her father took on side work to support her dream, delivering pizzas and helping with petrol money so that Courtney could travel across the Northeast to auditions and open mic gigs. In fact, when she appeared on The Voice Kids UK and later on AGT, her family moved to LA to support her, particularly her father, who traveled back and forth so she could compete as she continued schooling. Even through the whirlwind of TV shows, record deals, and international attention, Courtney's family remained her anchor. Publicly, she's credited them with keeping her grounded, reminding her of home, and helping preserve her passion rather than turning it into pressure. Their belief in her, not fame or accolades, gave her a steady foundation that helped her voice carry across continents, while her heart stayed rooted in Hazelden. Riding on the wave of this support, by early 2018, Courtney had built enough momentum and reputation that she was invited to audition for Season 13 of America's Got Talent. That invitation came not from a family decision to pursue Britain's Got Talent, but reportedly through show producers seeking international talent. It was perfect for the young Courtney. But little did she know that it would mark her turning point from local sensation to international stage, and her life would forever be changed. Big city, big dreams. Big dreams. At just 13, Courtney stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage as a quiet, almost shy schoolgirl from County Durham, England. She looked nervous, awkward, hardly a star. But then, the first notes of Otis Redding's Hard to Handle began, and everything changed. Her voice was one of a kind, raspy, powerful, older than her years. And as it exploded through the studio, gone was the awkward schoolgirl who had walked through the curtains. In her place was a new Courtney. Wild energy, gritty vocals, full control. Even the audience couldn't keep calm. The big question on all their minds was how a girl this young could possess such a powerful voice. Not even Simon could resist the pull. And as he sat rigid, stunned into silence, his signature poker face cracked, and from his mouth tumbled the words nobody forgot. "You were this shy little thing when you came out. You sing and you're like a lion." Howie Mandel was the first to react, hitting the golden buzzer and sending Courtney through to the live shows. Then, he declared that her voice belonged to a whole different era, and it even reminded him of Janis Joplin, one of the greatest blues rock vocalists of all time. But Howie wasn't the only one who saw her brilliance. Within hours, her audition video went viral, and by the time Tyra Banks introduced her later on the show, the video had been viewed over 310 million times. Insane, isn't it? By the time the quarterfinals aired, fans around the world were already calling her a generational talent, or even a phenomenon. Singers like her come once in a generation, and ours was lucky to have Courtney. She advanced to the quarterfinals and then to the semifinals, each time delivering electric performances that blurred the line between child and old soul performer. By the finals, she had a worldwide fan base, but in the end, the crown wasn't hers to take home. She placed 6th overall, a result that genuinely surprised many. Still, AGT was her breakthrough. It introduced her to an American audience and gave her a global platform. She later returned to compete on AGT, the champions in 2019, but by then, her trajectory had already shifted. Although it wasn't his golden buzzer that shot her through to the live shows, Simon had something more exciting up his sleeve. Shortly after the 2018 live shows ended, he signed her to his label, Psycho Music, in partnership with Arista. And just like that, 13-year-old Courtney was on her way to becoming a music star. But navigating fame and fortune is easier said than done. And for a 13-year-old, the pressure of the industry soon became too hot to handle. Everyone wanted a piece. Navigating fame. It was mid-2018, shortly after Courtney walked off that AGT stage under a hail of confetti. The world already had her in its gaze. But the industry wanted more than just a viral moment. They wanted a star. Instant fame followed pretty quickly. Her audition played on talk shows and streamed across news segments around the globe. Headlines called her the next Janis Joplin, the British soul sensation, or even the 13-year-old who sang like a legend. Overnight, she became a household name in America and a fast-rising curiosity back in the UK. Then December rolled around, and with it came the deal that changed Courtney's life. At just 14 years old, Courtney signed a long-term recording and publishing contract with Psycho Music in partnership with Arista Records. In interviews surrounding the announcement, she shared that she felt amazing to be joining the company, especially excited to do original songs and stay true to herself and the music she liked. Courtney described the moment as a dream come true, but she couldn't have been more wrong. 14-year-old Courtney didn't know it at the time, but all that excitement carried a heavy weight. She was still just a teenager, still learning how to breathe on stage. And she was suddenly expected now to deliver chart-ready music, interviews, promotional appearances in a machine built for grown-ups. How could she handle all of these? Backstage that season, Courtney shared how the pressure mounted. She needed to perform, to close the show, to bring energy not just once, but every week. And even though Howie's support kept her grounded with his cheers fueling her passion further, the nerves threatened to overwhelm her. Behind the cameras, record executives began positioning her as a brand. They pitched her sound, her image, her stage persona. The comparisons to Janis Joplin were compelling, but also a trap. And just like that, Courtney felt torn between the artist she wanted to be and the product she was expected to become. At 14, she entered studio sessions with songwriting teams, producers, and industry managers, all steering her toward a polished pop-soul crossover. Courtney, however, was still finding her voice, literally and artistically. She later described feeling that people around me were telling me what I should sound like and who I should be, and how she lost control of her path as her early teens passed by while she was in studios. It was exhilarating and exhausting. She was traveling between the UK and the US, expected to record originals, shoot promotional materials, and stay media ready. For a teenager still living at home, it was too much. It all felt surreal and isolating. And even though YouTube comments and fan messages praised her raw energy, beneath the praise, Courtney was quietly struggling to feel in charge of her career. And yet, the early buzz was relentless. Critics marveled at her energy, her stage presence, and her voice's mature grit. Producers labeled her a force of nature. Rolling Stone-style write-ups praised that she came in like a storm. Still, in private moments, she admitted feeling like a character being directed, even when performing original songs. She described dozens of writing sessions where she had to bend to themes or sounds she didn't fully believe in. Pretty soon, she found herself asking, "Is this me? Or is this what they want me to be?" Fame had arrived fast, and it felt heavy. The world saw a star in the making, but Courtney felt like a teenage girl caught between her own emotions and the pressure of endless expectations. It was that tension that set the stage for what came next. Too much too soon. Too much too soon. Fame is great. It's wonderful even. But imagine you're a teenager who's not even legal yet, navigating the confusing world of the music industry. Sounds like a hellish life, doesn't it? Well, that's because for Courtney it kind of was. Don't get her wrong. It wasn't like she didn't enjoy the life or the seeds of her hard work and everything else that came with it. It was just too much too soon. Pretty quickly, Courtney's world became a whirlwind the moment she joined Psycho/Arista. In the blink of an eye, her life revolved around deadlines, meetings, and recording sessions, not songwriting on her terms, but a rigid assembly line built to manufacture hits. And for someone who'd found joy in the seemingly little things like creative control, all of these felt overwhelming. Like we've mentioned over and over again, she was only 14 and already, she found herself in back-to-back sessions, expected to deliver polished pop soul tracks within tight timelines. A typical day could start with breakfast in the UK, meetings with label execs by noon, and a long haul to a US studio by evening. Those sessions often included multiple producers who would pitch beats, hooks, and themes that Courtney didn't necessarily connect with. She later reflected that everyone around me was telling me who I should be. And this was only a small reflection of how her creative input was often overshadowed by industry voices. As she worked through co-writing sessions and production teams, Courtney soon began to feel detached from the songs she was recording. In interviews, she expressed frustration at how she was molded into a sound that fit a predefined mold. Compromised emotion, filtered style, slick pop production that clashed with her gritty vocal roots. She was still discovering her artistic identity, yet being pressured to conform. That tension chipped away at her confidence, turning what had once been fulfilling into something unfulfilling. With a voice more mature than most college students, her mind was still that of a teenager. Courtney soon began to face mental exhaustion. She described bouts of overwhelm in backstage interviews, closing the show every week, carrying the energy of the finale, while trying to hold herself together. Despite praise from Howie and fans, the internal weight felt heavy. She even admitted to feeling isolated, traveling between continents, surrounded by suits, missing home, missing realness. And this was when the withdrawal began. It started slowly but steadily. First, the social media posts dwindled. Next, her presence on mainstream media shrank. Fans were worried, and they soon began to wonder where she'd gone. Were there creative disagreements? Was she ill? And what was worse, there weren't any public updates to keep supporters in the loop. This, combined with media speculation, began to feed rumor mills. Did Courtney get into an accident? Was she bedridden in a hospital? Where was Courtney? She was still here, just retreating to reclaim herself and escape the pressure. Courtney later teased upcoming material that felt angry and real, with lyrics like, "You only want me when I'm smiling," signaling deeper emotional undercurrents. She hinted that there was more depth, more pain, more honesty waiting to be unpacked. And with the rumor mills twisting and turning, everyone was eager to find out what had happened to the doe-eyed young girl who strutted onto the stage all those years ago. The silence between them, the silence. The years slipped by quietly. The industry never stopped chattering, but Courtney receded. Simon moved forward with the next season, already on the search for the next talent. And just like that, the connection between him and Courtney, that partnership, ceased. It became a transaction, and it faded into silence. From the outside looking in, it might have seemed like something more, but the truth is, Simon was never a personal mentor to Courtney. He was the executive who cast her, the gatekeeper who signed her. And he was also the man who appeared at public events, made the announcement, and then left her world to business as usual. And you couldn't even blame the guy. His job was to spot talent, not navigate its emotional fallout. Although Courtney never spoke publicly about bitterness toward Simon, many speculated that she harbored ill feelings toward him. After all, he was the driving force behind her joining the label. But even as a young girl, she understood the machinery of the industry, and she understood that Simon was only a part of it, not a confidant. Still, in hindsight, that absence felt meaningful. She was a product to be managed rather than a young artist to be nurtured. Over the next few years, Courtney's activity on social platforms dwindled. She built trust with independent producers, and Kevin Bowe was a turning point, but publicly, it seemed she'd disappeared. Meanwhile, Simon returned to his role as judge, executive, star maker, with no mention of Courtney's turmoil, no commentary on how the system may have faltered. Just the next audition and the next show. Even though life on the shoulders of a big company wasn't all it had been advertised to be, Courtney still held onto her love for music. Slowly, she began rebuilding, writing, recording, and releasing music independently. Meanwhile, Simon watched from television screens and headlines, never implicating himself in the weight she bore. Critics praised her new voice as raw and fearless, but Simon's public narrative remained silent. Courtney finds her voice. Courtney finds her voice again. There's a certain beauty in regaining your agency when it seems that all the world wants is to strip it from you. And by 2025, Courtney returned as a different person. After quietly stepping away from the AGT spotlight and her early label contract, she re-emerged as an independent artist, determined to create music on her terms. Her path forward centered on creative ownership. Working with Grammy-winning producer Kevin Bowe, known for collaborations with Etta James and Joe Cocker, she began writing and recording songs that felt true, not polished for radio, but honest in emotion. Among these were Monsters, You Only Love Me When I Lie, Breakable, and That Girl Don't Live Here, each exploring themes of vulnerability, anger, resilience, and identity. In interviews, Courtney emphasized just how different things felt. No top-down deadlines, no need to fit a label's mold. As she put it, "Everyone around me was telling me who I should be. Now I know who I am as an artist." She called this era a rebirth, consciously creating music that aligned with her own experiences. Fans and critics responded positively. Her single You Only Love Me When I Lie was described as a raw blues soul anthem. Reviewers called it her most emotionally powerful song yet, one that carries the tension of hidden pain and the courage to reveal truth. Her broader project, Little Miss Jagged, spearheaded by its September 12, 2025 release date, has even been hailed as her boldest, most personal work yet. Fans engaged deeply, and a stripped-down, mic-less video performance of "You Only Love Me When I Lie" left viewers breathless. Journalists wrote that she sounded like thunder, burning like fire, praising her intensity and authenticity. Now 20, Courtney has finally spoken openly about the emotional toll of her early fame, touching on burnout, loss of control, and the pressure she felt to perform before she was ready. She described grappling with her identity under the weight of industry expectation, and how reclaiming her voice felt like reclaiming strength. Her stage presence returned under her own rules, her songs carrying scars and resolve. Gone were the days when she chased applause. Now she aimed to connect and to be witnessed. And Simon? Well, he still remembers the 13-year-old who grabbed his attention all those years ago. Recently, several viral clips and trending retrospectives floated a single striking idea: that he had allegedly broken his long silence on Courtney's career arc. According to the clips, he hardly ever looks vulnerable on camera, because for him, emotion is a luxury. However, in these versions he paused mid-interview, something he rarely does, then sighed, as though carrying a weight he'd ignored for too long. He supposedly said, "We expected too much too soon," and added quietly, "She was a kid. I think we failed her." His voice, they said, cracked. His composure wavered as his emotions lay bare. Nothing like the unflappable judge millions know. While we're yet to see a reputable journalist or mainstream outlet record these statements, there's no doubt that he's aware of her new career direction. Still, suppose there was truth to these claims. Imagine Simon quietly reflecting on Courtney's young life in the spotlight. He would recall that shock of her audition, an energy so raw he called her a lion, then remember how quickly that spark became a flame others tried to shape. He might describe how business schedules replaced songwriting freedom, how fame pulled her away from herself. Perhaps he finally realized he'd put a young girl into a machine bigger than she was ready for. As Courtney rebuilt herself, leaving her label, writing with Kevin Bowe, and releasing music that felt honest again, Simon's alleged admission becomes a faint echo. Her songs, like "You Only Love Me When I Lie" or "Monsters," are confessional. They rip off expectations and expose the raw truth. Where is she now? Where is she now? Courtney is no longer just the viral kid who sang her heart out on America's Got Talent. Think of her now as a grounded artist. Back living in the UK, she maintains a personal life that balances music ambition, family, and authenticity. She still calls County Durham her home, having relocated a few years earlier to nurture a new sense of independence after leaving her label. Though her fanbase extends across the world, Courtney's heart remains in the northeast of England, where she reportedly shares a home base with a small but dedicated team and continues to draw strength from her local roots. She still stays in touch with friends from her early routines in Heselden and Peterlee. She's also a hands-on writer who occasionally mentions in interviews that her creative process often happens in quiet moments at home, with her laptop and her thoughts lining up into verses. Ever since the social media break, her presence has stayed vibrant. With over 1 million followers across TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, Courtney is deeply engaged digitally, not for promotion, but to bridge connections. When she isn't busy cooking up something in the studio, she shares behind-the-scenes studio snippets, casual conversations about mental health, workout routines, styling changes, like experimenting with a straightened fiery red hair look, and weekend scenes from her life. Fans describe her content as refreshingly honest and real. In a live stream this year, she opened up about the challenges of social media, saying TikTok sometimes feels overwhelming, but she appreciates YouTube as a space where she can share music and life without pressure. Frequently, she hosts Q&A sessions on Instagram stories and replies to fan comments with gratitude. She's candid about her mental health journey, which is helping normalize therapy and self-reflection in ways many young artists shy away from. Her posts often speak to growth, boundaries, and self-care. One interview quoted her saying she's excited to finish her album, but not at the cost of perfection. that she wants the process to feel real rather than staged. In early 2025, she signed with a new management team, Total Artist Management, under Oliver Mojita, after departing MN2S, citing creative differences that left opportunities unrealized. With her current team, she's been booking gigs across the UK, Europe, and planning dates in the US. She's played venue shows like Fiddler Elbow in London and is arranging larger tours. A highlight was her performance at Carnegie Hall in April 2024, handpicked by Clive Davis to open a gala, where she performed a Janis Joplin tribute in front of industry legends. That moment was widely covered and celebrated as a sign of her growing artistic respect. Today, Courtney lives a rhythm grounded in creative work and personal growth. Although she travels from time to time and makes occasional U.S. studio visits, she is often at home writing and recording with Kevin Bowe, building her debut album slated for release in September. Album snippets show varied genre experimentation, rock, soul, punk, and interviews reveal she's intentionally unafraid to shift styles between songs. She even jokes that every track feels like its own mood ring. Her supporters know her as someone who leans into change and isn't afraid to show the process. So when she posts a photo of her home office, or a messy studio bookshelf, or that she's just finished writing the day's lyrics, viewers cheer. This transparency has helped her maintain a genuine bond with her audience. What she's achieved is more than fame. It's a reputation for being fearless and real. In 2025, Courtney has made it clear she isn't chasing fame. She's nurturing it on her own terms, living simply, creating authentically, showing cracks before the shine. And in doing so, she's building more than a musical career. She's claiming her story back. If there's one thing Courtney's journey through the industry has taught us, it's that the entertainment industry in particular doesn't quite seem well equipped to handle child stars or talents. It's already a draining environment for an adult to be in. How much more for a person who's not even old enough to have a driver's license? Fortunately, Courtney was able to rise above. She shot through the noise and came out on the other end a new person with a new perspective on life and music. And while she didn't exactly have the smoothest journey, her determination and hard work saw that she never faltered under pressure. What are your thoughts on Courtney's journey? Tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you're notified whenever we upload a new video. From your search.